Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise, get you the key moments. Today we're diving deep into that high-profile Diddy sex trafficking trial. It's day 29, June 24th, and the things seem to be, wrapping up. You're working off the daily court update, so pretty much a front row seat. The mission, just quickly get you up to speed on the crucial stuff as it happens.
Yeah, and what's always fascinating, I find, in these big cases is just how fast things can move, from testimony one day to potentially a jury decision soon after. So we'll look at the evidence presented and what comes next. It's critical time.
Okay, let's break it down. The prosecution looks like they're set to rest their case today. Their last witness, Homeland Security Special Agent Joseph Cerciello, he's been on the stand laying out, well, quite a bit of evidence.
Right, and what really jumps out from Cerciello's testimony is how much it leans on digital stuff. We're talking texts, flight logs, hotel records, phone data, all of it. And this was all used to try and show what the prosecution is calling a pattern of these organized, financed freak-offs.
That's their term.
That's the term they used, yeah. Described as drug-fueled sexual encounters.
And this is where it got really intense in court, right?
Yeah.
Jurors were shown some very explicit videos, some apparently filmed by Combs himself.
Exactly. Videos, explicit text messages, detailing encounters with Combs, male sex workers, and women, including someone they're calling Jane.
A pseudonym, yeah.
A key witness, right. And also Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, her lawsuit, you remember, kind of kicked off these wider investigations earlier this year.
Right, that lawsuit brought a lot of this to light initially.
And they read texts in court from Jane saying she felt used, that she didn't want to be part of these freak-offs. Pretty powerful stuff for the jury to hear.
So, faced with all that, how did the defense push back? Because that sounds quite damaging.
Well, yeah. During the cross-examination, Combs' lawyers, they went hard. They didn't just show their own selection of explicit messages and videos to argue it was all consensual.
Okay.
They also really tried to undermine witness credibility. And they question, how some of that digital evidence was handled the chain of custody, basically trying to punch holes in that pattern idea the prosecution built, create that reasonable doubt.
Okay, so they tried to muddy the waters during cross-examination.
Right.
Which leads to this pretty big development. The defense says they're not calling any witnesses.
That's right.
Wow. That feels significant.
Yeah.
What does that signal, usually, when a defense team makes that call in such a high-stakes case?
It's definitely a high-stakes gamble. It suggests they feel confident, or at least confident enough, that they poke sufficient holes in the prosecution's case during crossing.
Right.
They might think calling your own witnesses could backfire, maybe open doors they want kept shut. So they're betting everything on the idea that the prosecution just hasn't proven its case beyond a reasonable doubt with the evidence already presented.
So it puts all the pressure back on the prosecution's narrative and the jury's interpretation.
Exactly.
Okay, so looking ahead,
Yeah.
Prosecution rests formally today. Closing arguments are penciled in for Thursday, potentially?
That's the tentative plan, yeah. Thursday closings, and then jury deliberations could potentially start as early as Friday.
And just a reminder of the charges Combs is facing. Serious ones, like sex trafficking, transportation for prostitution, and this broader racketeering conspiracy charge. He's pleaded not guilty to everything.
And the core challenge for the jury, really, is going to be interpreting that explicit evidence we talked about. It's the same text, the same videos.
Right.
But does it show a criminal operation, like the prosecution says, or does it show consensual, if maybe unconventional, acts, like the defense argues? That's the crux of it.
It really is. And, a final thought, maybe for you listening. In this digital age we're all swimming in, how do courts even draw that line between personal privacy in our texts and videos and what becomes evidence in a prosecution?
That's a huge question.
Especially when guilt or innocence can hinge so much on interpreting these very personal digital records. Definitely gives you something to chew on.
For the latest in celeb news, no AI fluff, no clickbait, subscribe now.